and she was in the most dangerous areas.
It was she was definitely in a different environment that I was in, and you know, those were some of the things that we talked about, especially when our son was born. You know, she is an amazing mother, and I'm so happy to have her as a partner. That those were some of the things that we talked about as a family, and getting her out of that situation and still be able to, you know, provide for our family and know that we're going to be okay even though she steps out of that world.
Gotcha. So real estate, what brought you to it?
You know, me and my fiance, we got into real estate not really knowing anything about investing. We owe a lot of credit to my fiance's father and our parents because they kind of guided us into not renting and owning something. They always told us, hey, make sure you buy and own something and not rent, because a lot of the years that they spent, they were renting. They came from, you know, the Dominican Republic, and they came to this country and they rented. So they always try to instill to us, you know, try and own something instead of rent.
Right. Because with rent, you're just throwing your money out.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was our like very first introduction into real estate. And in 2019, we saved up some money and we were able to buy our very own co-op. And it was just a 1-bedroom co-op, and we lived in it for about 2 years. And we put some money into it. We made it look nice. And when we sold it, we used those profits to buy our primary house.
Okay.
And right around that time when we bought our house, I remember I came home one week and it was a stressful week. I think I worked maybe like 6 or 7 days out of the week, and long hours, long overtime hours. And my fiance as well, she was working a lot of hours. And I kind of like sat down and I started thinking to myself, is this it? Is this what I'm going to be doing for the next 20 plus years? Just, you know, working long hours, working overtime, not having any time to spend with my family. And is this the only way that I'm going to be able to make money and pay for our bills? Because we were still living paycheck to paycheck.
Right.
I was scrolling through social media, and I kept on seeing some of the most well-known individuals in real estate, like Robert Kiyosaki, Grant Cardone, and Pace Morbius. And I would listen to what they were saying, and some of the things were finally hitting me, and I kind of was like understanding, like, you can do this in real estate. So I went and I actually paid for like an online course.
Okay.
Where it teaches you to buy like a 200 or 300 unit apartment building for your first deal. And I was just like, whoa.
Very realistic, right?
This is not
incredibly realistic.
So, and not only that, it was also the not being able to communicate with anybody or ask anybody any personal questions. It was all online PowerPoints and watching pre-recorded videos, and it wasn't personable. It wasn't somewhere where I can go and meet people that are actually doing deals that are just like me, that I can relate to. Mm-hmm. So I kind of took a step back from that, and I started doing some research. And because I wanted to have that feeling and to have that opportunity to go meet people that actually are doing real estate deals that I can actually meet and talk to and relate to. And if I had any question, I can call them and say, hey, I have a question about this. And that's when I came across your podcast. And I remember you always saying, if anybody has any questions, you know, send them over. So I send over a question, and one day I'm listening to the podcast and I hear you reading off my question, and I turn to my fiance. I'm like, babe, look, this famous guy, John, he's reading my question. Like, this real estate mogul is reading my question. Like, can come hear this. So I was super excited about that. I was
Yeah.
excited, and quickly right after that, I started going to the meetups, the Long Island RIA meetups, and in the meetups, that's where I was. I was still new. I
Hmm.
still didn't know much, but I was open to speaking to people. I was communicating a lot with everyone there, all the other people that are there. I remember meeting one of my good friends that I'm still friends with now, my good buddy Dominic. He came up to me and we started talking.
He's a
And
helicopter pilot, right?
yes, he is. Yes, he is.
It was
Yep.
for the police
And
department.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So we actually started talking, and he said, "Hey, man, I'm in the same field as you. These are the type of deals that I'm doing. I got a few properties, and he gave me his number, and I was able to, call him and relate to someone and actually talk to someone at that meeting, and kind of like have some type of interaction with someone that's actually doing deals, and that kind of got me excited and kept me going. So I kept on going to all the meetings,
Hmm.
and I eventually took the mentoring course, which was amazing, and eventually learned what creative finance was, which I feel like it's an amazing strategy that everybody should learn. After learning those strategies, we quickly got out a few deals, and
So, so you took the mentorship program, and then you did some deals before that. How were your deals after that different after taking the course that you took, your education?
yeah, so the mentoring program, it was very important to me because it allowed me to be in the room with other students that were interested in getting into real estate and really building that foundation that's essential to buying real estate. And it also allowed me to be in the same room with the instructors like you and Melissa, and learn a lot about where you guys were investing, what type of properties to invest in, how to underwrite deals, how to vet tenants, all the essential things that you need to build that foundation when you're getting into real estate.
Right, and I think it was different also because you said you took the computer course first, right?
Oh yeah,
How
yeah.
to
So
buy
I
three?
took
How to buy what apartment complexes? Or what were
so
you
so,
saying?
so yeah.
I did
It
it.
was
You could do it too. So I
um,
think it was more hands on because we actually I think you came to Connecticut with us, didn't you? Did you come to Connecticut?
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
we did a tour of
yes.
Connecticut and showed you the properties that we were purchasing. I mean, we do them in several different states. So even though it's Long Island Real Estate Investors Association, I call it LIREA because we teach it everywhere. To where those people that are, I did it, you can too. Yeah, where did you do it? Are you just in
Yeah.
Texas? Are you just teaching the Texas model? But you think that's going to be replicated everywhere else? Because it's not,
Exactly, exactly. No, yeah, and that's why I loved it so much because I was able to be in those rooms and be able to interact with everyone and see people that are doing deals, see what type of deals they're working on, and we would always bounce ideas off of each other. And that's what, allowed me to truly learn, is to be in that environment and to, be in front of all those people, the experts and the students as well. And
Right.
I remember quickly after learning about creative finance and utilizing that strategy or utilizing the different strategies, and one in particular called seller finance,
Hmm.
which helped me get my first deal. Pretty much what seller finance is instead of you going to the bank and putting down 20 to 30% on an investment loan and getting a high interest rate, you essentially can go directly to a seller that owns a house free and clear and ask them to be the bank for you and ask them to give you a mortgage. That's what I was able to do for my first deal. And I remember it took a long time negotiating it, but eventually I was able to give the seller their purchase price. And in return, they were able to give me terms that allowed me to cash flow. And with just that one single family, that property cash flows today close to $1,000 a month.
That's
which
all.
is just
That's awesome. And is that based off of your question from that email too? I have a deal with no money for a down payment.
So actually, when I first started off, not having the guidance and not having the expertise that you guys gave me, I was trying to, at the moment, I was trying to do things like Airbnb, and
Right.
I was trying to do things, super, super far away, where if I ended up doing that, I'm glad that those things didn't work out and I didn't follow through on those deals, because I feel like those things wouldn't have worked out for us, and it would have been a tough property to manage, a tough property to make money off of, because it was the numbers were tight. That's why I'm glad that I was able to get the guidance that you guys gave us, because it allowed me to really look at that deal and say, this is something that is not going to work. Let me focus on something else. Actually, going to those trips to Connecticut, that's where I was able to find my market and say, hey, this is where my mentors are investing. I'm going to also invest here, because they already, they're the experts. They already know what they're doing. So let me just follow in their footsteps.
Excellent.
And yeah.
It's amazing, man. And you were able to get you're not working 100 hours a week, right?
No. Definitely not.
Your fiance retired.
Yes.
Which she's out of that dangerous job. You guys have some passive income. You guys have your rock. You threw it in the water. Now, what ripples are you making, or are you attempting to make in the future?
For example, that deal that I was just talking about, utilizing seller finance, we were able to get like a 2% interest rate during this time, where interest rates are at 6, 7,
they're ridiculous
8% now, even 9%. And we were able to buy that property without any of our, without going to the bank, without any credit checks, without any credentials. I didn't have to show my W-2. I didn't have to show my tax returns or my pay stubs. And I was able to buy that property without using any of my own money. I was able to repeat that process, talking about the ripple effect. I was able to repeat that process and buy several other deals from that same individual that sold me that first house. A lot of people do say, hey, why would someone do such a deal like this, or do something like seller finance? There are different creative finance strategies that can allow us to help individuals. For example, there's strategies that can help anyone that is going through pre-foreclosure, or anyone that has low or no equity and wants to sell their house. There's also strategies like seller finance that can help tired landlord. For example, the situation the example that I gave for my first deal, it was a tired landlord that didn't want to, 1031 their money into another property. They wanted to sell off their assets little by little, and they were able to make more money over the long run and save on capital gains taxes as well.
Right.
So those were some of the things that, we kept on doing and we kept on trying to do. Utilizing creative finance allowed us to get to the position where we are now, where we're trying to pretty much share our story and share what we've done. A lot of the goals that I set in the beginning was retire my fiance and get her out of that dangerous environment that she was in. We've been able to accomplish that goal, and now our goals are now to share our story and to share our journey in real estate, in hopes to inspire others and inspire someone to start building generational wealth and start building a legacy for them and their family. We actually created a platform called Cops to Cashflow.
Okay.
It's on Instagram. There we highlight our story and other first responders' story, and showing how they're building generational wealth and building a legacy through real estate for them and their family.